Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today's topic has to do with feminism and men's rights. This is a pretty controversial topic, but a lot of it has a good amount of merit to it. So without much further ado, let's jump right into it. In recent years, women have been able to surpass challenges that their predecessors haven't been able to for generations to come. And men today have been able to actually begrudgingly accept that they may have been wrong in a lot of ways. The point of contention arises between the actions that men back in the day did and the consequences of those actions on men today, because a lot of men today may live in a society where things are more or less the same for them in comparison to how they have to deal with women. Let's examine how something like this will pan out for the men and women of today. So I'm going to start off today's video with a discussion on men's rights. Many people believe that men's rights evolved as a counterculture towards today's feminism. Like I'd mentioned earlier, men weren't the best when it came to providing an equal level of opportunity for everyone. But that primarily comes from men back in the day. We're talking about your grandfather or even your dad's generation. People from way back then. Men back then had very defined patriarchal gender roles. And this primarily meant that men were seen as the primary breadwinners of the family. They were the ones that went out and got a job and earned money. So it was basically their way or the highway for the longest time. But if you look at men today, this has to do with any working men in the workforce today. You could be in your 20s or 30s. You may have been born into a world where women and men primarily enjoyed a pretty similar standard of living. So, which is why when women complain about a lack of women's rights, a lot of younger men are often confused and conflicted in this because they don't believe that things are very much different for them. The truth is, a lot of places have traditionally been extremely discriminative towards women, and a lot of men agree to this. And has feminism been successful? Resoundingly yes. People today are aware of the issues that women face more than any other time in history. And this is amazing because women objectively score better than men in many areas. In fact, never before have there been so many women in politics or in business or in military or police. It's quite amazing to see how far they've actually come. While we do have a lot of developments and advancements when it comes to women, we should also examine why men's rights movements also sort of cropped up at the same time. If we look at where the majority of men's rights movements come from, they come from highly developed countries where men and women have pretty much no difference in the way life treats them or in the way like the public system treats them, which means that men and women can both drive, get a job, get a car, live by themselves independently, and aren't dependent on anybody else for their sustenance or well-being. This primarily refers to Human Development Index. And we can see this very commonly in advanced westernized countries, such as the United States, Canada, Northern Europe, places like that, where there's pretty much no difference in the way men or women are treated. In places, however, where patriarchy is still very much prevalent, and we're talking about slightly more traditional societies in the Middle East or Asia, men still have a very dominant role to play in society. And while the feminist movement in these places is catching up really quickly, they still have a very far way to go to get to the level where men are also, where men hold them to an equal level. Countries such as this have an extremely powerful feminist movement, and you can see this everywhere. And this is coming up in a big way across places such as India or anywhere else. What's interesting to note is that people become aware of these movements through social media, and there's rampant discussion on what's right or what's wrong. And there's no way that two people are ever going to agree, because it's probably two people from different sides of the planet who live in completely different universes. And the fact that they're choosing to butt heads over a particular topic online is just kind of crazy. The differences might be from like a point of view, or from like the level of education somebody has, or the or even very, very obvious class differences. Overall, both men's and women's rights go for the same thing. Both of them look for equality of the sexes in the eyes of the law. Again, it's just like amazing how people from both of these, from very diverse backgrounds, will collide online to confront as well as to discuss how something might be, correct in terms of their point of view. And we're talking about whether feminism is good or bad, or whether men's rights are valid to even have today, because men have naturally been dominant throughout history. I'm going to end by saying that both men's and women's movements aspire for a world where both parties are equal and where things are fundamentally better for everybody. How they get to that goal is unfortunately through a lot of fighting, because if we look at history, human beings have rarely settled on things in a peaceful and amicable manner. So we can expect this to go on in the future as well. Well, that's been my video. Thank you so much for watching. And if you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe.